In its decision just released in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, the Supreme Court eviscerated the right to a legal abortion in states like Kentucky by reversing Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood v. Casey and holding that states can ban abortion altogether. This is a devastating decision and will have immediate impacts in our state and beyond. Because Kentucky has a trigger ban on the books, a law that was passed by the 2019 General Assembly, abortion opponents will argue that abortion is now banned in Kentucky. As a precaution, abortion providers have stopped providing care while we finalize our next steps. We are prepared to file a case in Kentucky's state court on the grounds that Kentucky's state constitution allows for the legal right to an abortion. We will be aggressively litigating this claim and hope to gain relief from the state courts that will allow the providers to resume abortion care. We hope the providers will be able to resume care shortly. Of course, this means that the work of Protect Kentucky Access is crucially important at this moment in history. This coalition is working to defeat a constitutional amendment, which voters will vote on in November's election, and which would amend Kentucky's state constitution to explicitly say that there is no right to an abortion in that document. If that amendment is adopted, our efforts in state court to ensure abortion remains available in Kentucky will likely not be successful, and Kentuckians will have no choice but to leave the state to access abortions. We know that many people will simply not be able to leave the state, and we know that reality will disproportionately hit people who are living at or near the poverty line, Black and brown Kentuckians, and those without the partner or familial support they need. Whatever shifting framework anti-abortion judges and justices put before us, we will never stop fighting for people's ability to make their own reproductive health care choices, including whether and when to become parents. No one should have that choice forced on them, which is what the Supreme Court and anti-abortion politicians seek to do. That should horrify all of us who care about freedom and personal autonomy.
You know, it's tough for me to express the full gravity of what we're facing with the Supreme Court ruling in Dobbs, which will essentially overturn 50 years of precedented law with Roe v. Wade and forever restrict and in many cases ban abortion access in many of our states, in our case for Kentuckians who desperately need full access to comprehensive, competent, compassionate health care all across the board. What we're facing in terms of the LGBTQ community cannot be overstated as well. That for so many members of the queer community, abortion access is an essential healthcare right. That we know that people with means will always be able to access abortion, no matter what. A safe abortion will be available to people who are not living in poverty all across America, whether or not your state restricts it. But in a state like Kentucky, where we have a trigger ban in place, will completely eradicate abortion access in Kentucky. Poor Kentuckians will not have access to safe, legal abortion in an accessible way. And we know that for folks who need to access abortion and cannot do it, that they are 3 times more likely to end up in poverty. In the LGBTQ plus community, we have disproportionate rates of poverty, and particularly among lesbian and bisexual women who already more than a quarter live in poverty today. Those rates will skyrocket with the eradication of the access to abortion. This is undeniably an LGBTQ rights issue, and we cannot be complacent as we prepare to fight this both at the ballot here in Kentucky in November, where a constitutional amendment on abortion will be voted on by every Kentucky voter, but also to resist what the Supreme Court is doing right now, which could have broader implications than anyone can imagine. The Obergefell v. Hodges decision that less than a decade ago granted the freedom to marry to all LGBTQ Americans is settled law, but If the Supreme Court right now is willing to overturn 50 years of precedent, who knows what could be next? We've got to fight like our lives depend on it, because they do. I hope you'll join us.
The Supreme Court just overturned Roe v. Wade, and in Kentucky, that means abortion care will be out of reach for many people. Things might seem dark, but there's still hope. This November, abortion care will be on Kentucky's ballot, and we need to show up in numbers we've never seen before. Every Kentucky voter will have the opportunity to vote on an amendment to Kentucky's Constitution in November. This constitutional amendment has the potential to completely rewrite Kentucky's Constitution and ensure no one has the right to abortion care in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Between now and November 8th, we must mobilize. We need to talk with our neighbors, friends, family, and strangers we meet at the grocery store, church, the doctor's office, or farmers markets. Organizations across Kentucky have come together to form a coalition, Protect Kentucky Access, to educate the public about the constitutional amendment, and we need your support. We're going to be knocking on doors, making phone calls, and showing up at local events to let Kentuckians know about the Supreme Court's decision and the impact that will have on Kentuckians. To get involved in the fight to protect abortion access in Kentucky, you can go to the ACLU of Kentucky's website at aclu-ky.org and sign up to volunteer. You can also go to Protect Kentucky Access's website at protectkentucky.com to learn about more ways to get involved.
Living a safe and healthy life is a basic human right, as is our freedom to define our own path. We aren't truly free if we cannot make decisions about our own bodies, our lives, and our futures. Whether that's saying no to unwanted sexual advances, no to an unintended pregnancy, or yes to becoming a parent. The decision about whether and when to become a parent is one of the most important life decisions we make. When people can make decisions that are best for their lives, families thrive, and we build communities where each of us can participate with dignity and equality. Since 2011, anti-abortion politicians have been working to push abortion care out of reach or ban it outright. They have quietly passed more than 400 medically unnecessary and politically motivated state restrictions, creating a web of barriers that push safe and affordable abortion care out of reach, especially for poor people, young people, and BIPOC individuals. These laws force healthcare providers to lie to patients, force people to go to multiple medically unnecessary and sometimes invasive procedures, and require tougher facility standards for abortion providers, causing clinics to shut down. When abortion care is unavailable, the harm falls hardest on those struggling financially or those who already face significant barriers to health care. And let's not forget that there are no exceptions for rape or incest in these laws in Kentucky. While abortion has been legal for more than 4 decades, anti-abortion politicians have already pushed abortion care out of reach for many poor folks, young people, LGBTQ people, and BIPOC people. Forcing someone to carry a pregnancy has devastating and long-lasting consequences for these people and their families. Studies show a person who is denied abortion care is more likely to fall into poverty than someone who receives the care they need. After being denied an abortion, an individual has 3 times greater odds of being unemployed than a person who was able to obtain abortion care. On the other hand, if you can get abortion care compared to those who are denied, you are 6 times more likely to have positive life plans and to achieve them. With the balance of the Supreme Court now turned against abortion rights, we are faced with dismantled abortion care and even more aggressive and systemic threats to people and their healthcare providers being sent to jail. The legal right to abortion is no longer guaranteed to us in the ways it was before. The Hyde Amendment was specifically designed to deny abortion care to low-income people by withholding coverage for abortion care for people insured through Medicaid, Indian Health Services, and other federal programs. We are now at the precipice. It's time to speak up and show up to make sure abortion care with dignity and respect is available in our communities, and to put an end to restrictions because of our age, our sexual orientation, gender identity, immigration status, how much we earn, our race, or where we live. We are taking back our power. We are creating a future that safeguards abortion care, upholds basic rights and justice, and respects our decision-making. We are working on policies that will restore access to abortion in our state for everyone. We will work to restore insurance coverage for abortion care so that we stop denying coverage because someone is struggling financially. We will work to end policies that deny health care and information about reproductive care because of the religious or personal beliefs of a hospital, pharmacy, employer, or insurance company. We are working on maternal mortality legislation to make it safer for BIPOC families who decide to continue their pregnancies. Maternal mortality continues to be a crisis in Kentucky. People of color are 3 times more likely to die from complications during or soon after pregnancy than their white peers. Kentucky must implement policies addressing racial bias in medicine and increasing access to doulas. The United States has the highest rate of maternal mortality among the world's wealthiest countries. And this rate has risen 26% from 2010 to 2014. And there are no underlying natural cause that explains why pregnant Black women are twice as likely as their peers to have life-threatening complications during childbirth. Nor is there any inherent medical reason for Black people to have the highest infant mortality rate of any racial or ethnic group in the United States. This is not only affecting Black mothers, Black infants are twice as likely to die before their first birthday than non-Hispanic white infants. Mortality rates are higher for all people of color for several reasons, and structural racism in healthcare is near the top. We will continue our work on paid leave policies and access to child care assistance for all Kentuckians. We are in desperate need of real access to birth control with fewer restrictions. It is way past time to educate Kentuckians on consent and what no means no looks like. This is just the beginning. We will not stop fighting until everyone has equal protection under the law. You will continue seeing the ACLU of Kentucky.